Welcome to the HIT podcast, H.I.T, Human Resources, Insurance, and Technology. I'm your host, Toby Kennedy. If you are just listening to our podcast only, you may or may not notice something a little bit different. But if you are watching, surely you've noticed this isn't the real me. This is animated me. That's right. This whole episode is taking place in the world of animation. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. This week's episode is brought to you by Montage Insurance Solutions, and let's dive into your weekly hit. Whether our goal is broadly to leverage the messaging for open enrollment, or we have something specific we wanted to discuss, a new infertility benefit, the change of a carrier, a new HRIS system, sometimes using animation as a vehicle for messaging can be a really powerful tool. Because as the debate rages between whether Zoom or Q&A sessions, in-person meetings, or simply posting the materials to your HRIS platform is the most effective way to communicate, sometimes the answer is really D, all of the above. And leveraging a tool like animation doesn't have to be that hard. I'm not a professional at this. I'm not an animator. And that's sort of the point of today's episode. To show you how accessible it can be to add animation to your benefits communication, even as a pure amateur. So whether we want to include slides of some complicated insurance nuance provision that we really wanted to touch upon, or break out some chart and go over data that was really important to cover. The point is, for a multitude of different reasons why we might want to have something that we need to explain, animation can be a great tool. In addition to the consideration of broadening the overall tools we use to communicate open enrollment, let's go over a couple of the best practices to make it go as successfully as possible. So I feel like the three rules are communicate, over-communicate, and then over-communicate. We can never do too much of this stuff. Communicate early. Let's talk about maybe postcards that get mailed home, teaser emails, flyers, or posters that we put all over the office if we are still in office, maybe even asking for 2 minutes on other interdepartmental meetings. So, hey guys, if you're going to sit and have your meeting on XYZ, can I get 2 minutes at the start or the end just to tease open enrollment? Because we really want to make sure we're talking about it with enough advanced time and over enough time to where employees really feel hit over the head about it. And whether you're in person or all remote, can we find a way to gamify, right? So some version of like a Jeopardy or even a scavenger hunt, and remote stuff scavenger hunt with maybe QR codes that are buried in different communications that all sort of spell out like a puzzle can be a really fun way to get people engaged in the overall process of the benefits education we have coming up for the season. And do we or can we tie this to any sort of wellness activity to infuse health with, whether it's just like stress balls or even having vendors out that can do massage therapy, acupuncture, dietitians, those sort of farm fresh to you type of vendors where we turn the open enrollment into a health fair of sorts that can really pull people in. Again, whether we're hybriding the in-person stuff with vendors and foods and lunches and prizes, and also the remote work where we try to tie all this stuff in for those folks in a thoughtful way as well. And I think another thing to really be mindful of is clarity around our calls to action. When the employee goes home, do they know about the HRIS system, how to click through it, when it opens? Do we have a Jellyvision, Alex sort of decision-making tool? How do they get the help they need? Are there Q&A sessions with the insurance broker? What do they do to make sure that they know that this is either a passive enrollment or an active enrollment? Where to go and how to do it, because we had a lot of clarity surrounding our calls to action. That's all the time we have for you here on the HIT podcast. Thank you to our sponsors. And until next week, make this the best week yet.